TC America, powered by Skip Barber season, has come to its final weekend, and the season wraps up here at the famed Brickyard, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This venue opened in 1909 and has hosted racing of every shape and size. Today, the touring cars are front and center with championships up for grabs in both the TCA and TC classes. Welcome to Indianapolis. Welcome to the home of American motorsport. This is the racing capital of the world. And again, it is the TC America, powered by Skip Barber Racing School season finale here at this 14-turn, 2.5-mile infield road course. My name is Ryan Marine, high atop the famed pagoda here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're waving to you. I'm with Calvin Fish. It'll be DJ Clark down at the pit lane for us here today as we get set to go with a field full of touring car aces here, Calvin. TCX, well, that title is done and dusted. Colin Garrett, who came so close to winning it here a year ago, he does get it done in 2023 and does it 2 races early, but 2 championships still very much on the table.
Yeah, Colin Garrett just did an excellent job this year, Ryan, putting that together, 6 wins and clinching the TCX with an event to go. But in TC and TCA, it is really tight. There's a fierce battle going on. Clay Williams has a 21-point lead over Jeff Ricker for the TC Championship title. In TCA, it doesn't get any tighter between the 2 protagonists there. Spencer Bucknam, Devin Anderson split by just 3 points heading into the final 2 rounds of the championship season.
It's been fun all season long. We expect it to be so again today. And down on a very chilly grid this morning here at IMS is DJ Clark. Hey, DJ.
Hey, Ryan, as you said here, it is a little bit chilly, going to make race conditions pretty interesting for these cars. The TCX field, going to be a little bit of a fascinating battle with Dai Yoshihara up at the pole, but as you said, one of my things that I really want to follow here this weekend, that's going to be the TC field. Not only are Jeff Rica and Clayton Williams in that championship fight, but we've got a hometown hero, Christian Pericarpi, on pole here in the number 37 Mini JCW. The Brownsburg native was able to put the car on pole, going to be hoping to recreate victory here.
Christian calls Brownsburg, Indiana home. That's about 15 minutes away from where we're sitting right now. It is a home track for the Mini team as well, and they've got 4 cars, 2 in TC, 2 in TCA. So much still at stake for them, and for Christian Pericarpi to win here would be extremely special, but he's got to be thinking about his teammate, trying to help Clay Williams to the title, and also thinking about the Manufacturers' Championship, which is still pretty hotly contested between Hyundai and Mini.
Yeah, there's a number of boxes that have to be ticked here today for a lot of the competitors, but what stands out to me looking at these times is that Dai Yoshihara is on the pole by exactly 1 second. That is a phenomenal margin to have over the rest of this field, which is led by Colin Garrett and all of the BMWs, and Christian Pericarpi almost a half second clear of that TC field. But what's really interesting, Ryan, is that the TC class pace is very similar to the tail end of the TCX, so we're going to see a lot of overlap in this race, I think.
I haven't seen that here in the past, so that is going to be an interesting wrinkle for sure. It certainly was in qualifying, making things difficult, I think, for some drivers to get clean laps. We heard about that from drivers from both the TCX and TC classes. Meanwhile, in TCA, it has been a rough and tumble championship battle between Devin Anderson and Spencer Bucknam all season long. It's basically even at this point in terms of the championship coming into Indianapolis, and they line up, of course, alongside one another on the front row.
Yeah, it's been a seesaw battle, and it's going to be great to see how that turns out here this weekend. But right now, Spencer Bucknam has that minor advantage. So if they were to trade, if they kind of went a win a second, that would give him the advantage at the end of the season. But I think we're going to see some twists and turns in this battle over the next couple of days.
Field starting to roll out for the first of 2 formation laps. Important formation laps on a cool morning like this to try and generate some heat in those tires.
It is frisky out there. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of wind blowing like we had last night when we went to bed here in Indianapolis, but it's still pretty cool. 45-degree ambient right now, which is a major change from when the team showed up here midweek when it was up in the 80s ambient. So a lot to deal with here. So they'll be working these tires over pretty fiercely on these formation laps to try and generate a little bit of temperature into these Pirellis.
Great venue to host the season finale. It's been the case now for a handful of seasons. Everyone looks forward to coming to Indianapolis, getting a chance to race here. Oval, road course, doesn't matter. There's something special about Indy.
Yeah, we're so focused on the championship, but we've got to recognize when you drive through that tunnel, you recognize the enormity of the stage here in Indianapolis, and what it means to have success is certainly on everyone's bucket list.
Well, let's take a look at how the field will line up for the first of 2 TC America races here this weekend. On pole position, the Japanese Drift King, Dai Yoshihara. He'll have champion-elect Colin Garrett to his outside on the front row in TCX. To the second row we go. Adam Gleason sporting a Cole Trickle-inspired paint scheme on his BMW. Kenny Schmid starts next to him in the second row. Then row number 3, Matty Oust, the impressive debutant from Texas, starting alongside Avon, Indiana native Jackson Lee. Then we get to the TC field, and it is the hometown kid, Christian Pericarpi on pole. Celso Neto continuing his strong run of form, qualifying on the outside of the front row. Clay Williams in the team car to Pericarpi starts alongside championship rival Jeff Rica, who starts for the Gin Racer team in 4th. Then it's Sally McNulty and Ruben Iglesias in row number 6 of the grid. Row 7 belongs to Jeremiah Burton and Chris Valdez. And starting out back of the TC field is TCX runner Chris DeFreitas. Then to the TCA runners. On pole, Devin Anderson. His rival Spencer Bucknam starts alongside. They were exchanging paint and body panels last time we saw them at Sebring. Will Lambros and Xiao Yi Che will start in the second row. PJ Gronke in the Mini, Mario Biundo in the Honda in the next row. Then to row 12, Bruce Marine from here in Carmel, Indiana, next to Cooper Broll. And finally, out back will be the Canadian newcomer, Maddie Lemke. Really excited to see what she could do here in her first ever pro race. That's how the field lines up to go racing for race number 1 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Everyone weaving back and forth to generate a little bit of temperature to get ready to go around this 14-turn, 2.4-mile road course here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2 long straightaways, Calvin, 2 big brake zones, some technical portions as well, and with these cars, plenty of room to go side by side.
Oh, it's going to be great. I mean, this racetrack really allows these TC machines to go side by side in a number of the key areas, but you come out of the shadows of the front stretch here, and you burst into that sunshine, so that'll warm those track up a little bit in that area of the track. We can see the drivers really working their tires over in a big way right now. Other than the front row, they've got to kind of get in station here by the time they get to turn 7. And the pace car will peel off, and we'll be ready to see some racing. And turn 1 is so tricky, Ryan. You talk about that long run down the front stretch in that turn 1 braking zone. You'll burst into the sunlight, but again, you try and make a move down to the inside. There's not a lot of grip there, so it'll be fascinating to see if everyone can go through there unscathed.
One thing to watch for on the start, it is the Honda on pole position. We've seen a few times this season the Honda struggle to accelerate away when the green flag comes out. That's been the talk of the TCX paddock in the build-up to this race. We'll keep an eye on it as the field heads into turns 12, 13, and 14 for the final time before we go racing here at Indianapolis. 3 classes, 3 distinct starts, 1 famous venue, the Brickyard. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway playing host to the season finale for TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School. 1 Honda and a host of BMWs in the TCX field. Here they come around the final corner. The Rova Pole Award winner, Dai Yoshihara, to driver's right. Colin Garrett, the champion-elect, to driver's left. Screen right, coming down the front straightaway towards the VP acceleration zone. Waiting for the green flag, and it waves from the starter stand above the yard of bricks. The race is on here at Indianapolis.
Got Colin Garrett screen right now. He's on the part of the racetrack that should develop some grip, so Yoshihara's got to be careful here as he goes to the brake pedal to try and slow it down. Garrett looks like he's going to clear him and swing by and grab the lead.
Great start from the new champion, Colin Garrett, former stock car driver. Gets a little bump draft there from Kenny Schmid.
Sideways coming through turn 2.
He was able to handle it, and it propelled him to the race lead. Schmid now taking a look around the outside of Yoshihara, but that opens the door for Adam Gleason in that beautiful car that looks like it's out of Days of Thunder. He's running there in the 3rd spot. He too is an Indiana native.
Yeah, both those BMWs trying to get through that very tight chicane there and not get the elbows out. So great start by our champion-elect, Colin Garrett. Oh, damage there at the back of the TCA field.
Big time carnage there, a couple of cars off. That's exiting the switchback onto Holman Boulevard. Battle for the lead in TC. How about Celso Neto, the Brazilian stock car driver? Around the mini driver, the pole sitter, Christian Pericarpi.
Yeah, and then you see the two championship contenders there. There's Clayton Williams there in the number 60 machine. He leads the championship. Jeff Recker has to get by him somehow here today.
Pericarpi looking to counterattack here. We stay green for the moment despite the spin that we saw at the back of this TC field. Back up onto the banking here. Oval 1 and 2. And then back to the infield they go. Celso Neto wresting the lead away from the pole sitter, Christian Pericarpi, at the end of Holman Boulevard.
Yeah, that Honda looks to be hooked up here in the opening lap. Certainly a great move around Pericarpi. Grabs the lead, and his car is looking very spicy right now in terms of its pace. Hasn't won a race yet this year, been knocking on the door, numerous podiums. He'd love to finish off the season on a high.
He's been racking up those podiums. It seems like he's due for a race win. The Brazilian driver, Celso Neto. Meanwhile, we look now our first glance at the TCA class. The top two have sprinted away, done a nice job to separate themselves. It's Bucknam leading Lambros. I say that, actually, that means that Anderson has fallen all the way to the back. Something has gone wrong for one of the championship contenders.
That is massive. That is a massive moment in this championship. There's Bucknam, championship leader. A little bit of overflow coming out there from the right rear corner as he went through that sweeper there.
Coming under pressure from Will Lambros, who is running much better here in recent weeks. You could tell he has taken a step forward in his development driving for the Skip Barber Racing School.
Where is Devin Anderson, our pole sitter in TCA? Came into this round of the championship just 3 points behind.
Well, I can tell you that Sally McNulty and Ruben Iglesias were the two TC cars that we saw off track. I think we're going to get a look at that incident and maybe the one that involved Devin Anderson, the points leader in TCA as well.
I'm not sure what that was.
We'll wait for that, but in the meantime, well, there we go. Here comes the replay. This is McNulty side by side with Iglesias. This is a tough place to go side by side, Cal. Both
really
cars coming together.
You almost need to take the shortcut when you're on cold tires and trying to coexist there through. That is turn 5 and 6, the high-speed chicane.
Ooh, Anderson looks like maybe he just got wide. Might have had some help. But that put him all the way to the back of the TCA field. He's been able to get back around Matty Lemke for at least one position. In the meantime, battle for the overall lead is on. Colin Garrett to the inside of Yoshihara here through the first couple of corners.
Yoshihara, though, I think he's going to clear him. He's going to have the inside line for that upcoming chicane. How aggressive does he get? Garrett has to give it up. This gives Schmid a run as well.
Big
He's
time.
off the road and back on again in the 14.
Kenny.
Clears Garrett. Here comes Adam Gleason at the same time.
Certainly costly for Garrett, who was the leader at the line. He goes from first to fourth, and now Jackson Lee is starting to run him down.
Yeah, Jackson, great to see him here. So much history with his family. Kevin, broadcaster for the IndyCar Championship, so good to see him on board with this BMW. He did a little bit of testing, doesn't have a lot of seat time. Single-seater racer, got a lot of talent, and running up here in the top 5 early.
First experience racing with a roof over his head, though. Driving for the AOA team as a teammate to Kenny Schmid, who runs second on the road, top of the BMW drivers.
So Yoshihara, we saw him have that huge margin in qualifying here by a clear second. Now he's got the point and has taken off a little bit.
Nose to tail, that's Colin Garrett working on Adam Gleason. That looks like Cole Trickle's car from Days of Thunder. It's because that's the idea. That's based off that mellow yellow paint scheme.
They did
Super
a poster
cool.
and everything, like a movie poster, really cool. It's a fun group. I really like what they brought to the table this year.
Driving for Fast Track Racing out of Texas, which is where Adam now calls home, but he's originally from the north side of Indianapolis, so this is a home race for him.
There's that battle up front. This is the top 3 we're looking at there. You see Celso Neto. Got good pace here. We've seen that car be strong on occasion, Ryan, but last round we saw it in the heat at Sebring. It seemed to struggle a little bit down the straightaways, but here it seems to be doing just fine.
Loving these cool temperatures. We've seen the Honda TC car excel here at Indianapolis in the past.
Jackson Lee, a bold move down the inside.
Working on Matty Oust, Colin Garrett had actually dropped behind both of them as well. So Colin Garrett laboring at this stage. Lee makes the pass on Oust, so that puts him up to P4.
Really nice. He's going to try and chase after that podium spot. So Colin Garrett, does he have damage? We saw him try to go side by side there through the chicane, lost a lot of ground, and not sure if he took a rough road over one of the curbs there and has affected something on his race car, but nonetheless, not used to seeing our championship winner back there in P6.
He's been a podium machine this season, racking them up left and right. Meanwhile, fight here in TCA for the lead. That's Bucknam fighting with Lambros, trapped behind a TC car that appears to be struggling. I think that's McNulty who had that spin on the first lap.
It is. Bucknam's got to really manage this. I'm sure he's been getting the word as to Devin Anderson what is going on with his main contender for this championship title. It's basically between those two drivers, so he's in great shape here.
Devin's been able to make up 2 positions after dropping to the back of TCA, but still has a long way to go to get back up to the big points paying positions and keep himself in touch, trying to keep this a real championship fight going into the finale tomorrow.
Looks like that TC machine has gapped the TCA battle at the front a little bit. That'll make the dynamic a little bit clearer and easier for Spencer Bucknam.
Ambrose poking the nose out of line, now ducks back in line. A couple of Honda runners, 2 different teams, LA Honda World in the case of Bucknam, and right behind from the Skip Barber Racing School team is Will Ambrose.
Ryan Eversley on site again, coaching young Spencer Bucknam through this championship assault. This is the battle for TC. Pericarpi now putting the pressure on Celso Neto. Oh, Rick is off and on through that really tricky turn 10. Just seems like he's struggling a little bit for pace. He's hanging on here, but I don't think his car has the pace of the championship leader up in front of him. As they run right now, Williams came in here with a 21-point lead. The drop between 3rd and 4th is 3 points, so it wouldn't clinch it, but you're almost there. Come out of this race with a 25-point lead. Right now, Rickett has the tiebreaker in terms of more wins on the season, but here comes Pericarpi pulling the draft there down into the turn 1 brake zone. Neto on the dirty part of the racetrack keeps it together nicely.
Christian is super motivated to get to victory lane here at Indy. He said it's a bit of a love-hate relationship. He loves this place, hates the results he's had here. It hasn't always gone his way. He can sniff victory at the Brickyard, though, the track that he grew up just about 15-20 minutes away from.
Clay Williams right there, but he's got to be careful if those two start getting a little bit rough and tumble right in front of him. He can't get caught up in that mess. Pericarpi keeping it clean. Neto, again, proactive in taking that inside line down into these 2 big brake zones in turn 1 and turn 7.
And Jeff Rica just lying in the weeds right there in 4th in that Hyundai. He has been so good this season, probably would have had a really good chance at the championship here this weekend had he not had to miss 2 races at Circuit of the Americas to contest the 24 hours of the Nürburgring earlier this year as part of Hyundai's effort there.
Yeah, he basically lost 50 points that weekend with Clay Williams sweeping the weekend when he was missing. Neto doing a great job, just really carving these corners nicely. No slips yet. We don't expect a lot of tire degradation in these cool conditions. Car should actually get better. Lambros keeping the heat on Spencer Bucknam.
The Bucknam family with rich history here at Indianapolis. Grandfather Ronnie made 3 Indy 500 starts, 1968 to 1970. His father Jeff made 2 in 2005 and 2006.
Devin Anderson's progress, he's up to P5 in class. Still a long way to go and a lot of time on the board.
Absolutely right. A little mixed up with a TCA car there. That's Ruben Iglesias, who is looking to recover after the first lap spin.
Anderson has pace. His fast lap is equal to that of our leader, Spencer Bucknam, so it's just really the gaps that have been created with that moment he had on the opening lap.
He picked off a couple more cars here since we last checked in on him, so Anderson a little bit further back, but still making progress up through the field. He is now running 5th in class. PJ Gronke, the Canadian, next in his crosshairs. This has been fantastic. Honda, couple of minis, Hyundai, locked together like a freight train.
Yeah, Celso's doing a great job here. Almost drifting it through some of these corners now.
He's got to be so hungry to finally get to victory lane. He has been close. He's led races. As we look at the points as they stand in TC, Clay Williams would extend that advantage to 24 points. That would mean that it would have to be a win for Jeff Rica tomorrow and a DNF,
yeah,
exactly, for Clay Williams.
But it still keeps you awake at night just thinking about the what ifs. I just think Rica's car just seems to be struggling for that ultimate pace here as he drops a little bit further back. I don't think he has a lot to really gain in terms of performance here. He's just got to sit and watch and see what happens up in front of him.
On that shot of him coming up onto the front straightaway out of turn 14, it looked like he had his hands full, drifted out awfully wide, came pretty close to the outside retaining wall, and lost quite a bit of ground down the front straightaway as a result.
Yeah, and I think if I'm Clay Williams, I just sit here right now, sit and ride it out. You'd love to see, like, he'd love to get that one extra position, and maybe the team will make the call as they run right now. As you said, he'd be 1 point shy of securing the title, but if his teammate lets him by towards the end of this race, that would seal it and make it a much tastier dinner tonight.
Now, Daiyoshi Hara was coming under pressure early in this race, but it looks to me like he has gotten into his rhythm.
Look at Jackson Lee up to P3 and now putting the pressure on his teammate here.
Phenomenal drive from the back of the TCX class. Just didn't get a lap in qualifying, didn't find the clear track. But he's been on the charge since the start of this one. He's caught Kenny Schmid. This is his teammate, by the way. AOA running a second car, which they've done a couple of times this season. Good fight for effectively best in class among the BMW runners. Wow! Look at that ride.
Yeah, a couple of these curbs around here in turn 1, turn 7, you don't want to do that.
That was Jeremiah Burton. Cool story for him. He's online automotive major presence on YouTube and other automotive channels, and thought, you know, what does it take to be a race car driver? So he hooked up with the Skip Barber Racing School. They're producing a lot of content to that effect, and he's been having a lot of fun, putting some pretty good results this year as well.
Garrett's back up to speed again, so not be too much wrong with that machine, but nonetheless, just seems like he's pretty vulnerable and doesn't have a lot to attack with. Gleason drops back there to the 5th position. His teammate Matty Oust in his shadows.
To your point of the pre-race, look how close the front of the TC field is to TCX. Neto, the
That's
leader.
Where the split start as well, so
yeah,
if they'd all started together, I think they'd be nipping at their heels.
Oh, Neto has his hands full, though. Christian Pericarpi has a rocket ship underneath him right now.
Yeah, and Rick is putting the heat on Williams. He's got closer. So he's been digging deep, grinding it, trying to find some pace. Williams dropping back from this lead duo. Is there any issues with Williams' car right now?
Speaking of heat, you remember at Sebring, the last time we saw Christian Pericarpi, I think in race 1, he was sprinting towards his car, which was spewing smoke, carrying a fire extinguisher after a turbo issue. But they were able to preserve that car, get it prepped, ready to go. And right now, it might be the fastest in class.
Right through 14. I'm not sure just the gear ratio in that machine for Jeff Ricker, but he really seems to lose a ton of time there to the Mini on acceleration through that final curve on the front stretch.
Pericarpi looking left, looking right now in the tire tracks of Celso Neto, who is in pursuit of his first career win in TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School.
I have a feeling that Pericarpi may have 2 or 3 tenths in hand if he can just clear Neto, but so far Neto's just done a brilliant job.
TCX leaders coming through the back of the TCA field here. This is the battle for third. All of a sudden, Jackson Lee's got his mirrors full of Colin Garrett, the champion-elect. They make their way past Bruce Marine's Mini.
Yeah, he did a nice job there, just protected, kept the car in the middle of the road, just got really late on the brakes, tried to keep it in a straight line and just get it slowed down enough to cut the corner. But Garrett's keeping the pressure on, trying to look to the inside here as they run through turn 11.
Adam Gleason and Matty Oust, two teammates from Fast Track Racing, making their way through the traffic. Looks like Garrett might have a move to the inside. Tough place to get it done, but the stock car veteran, former track champion at South Boston Speedway in Virginia, makes the move on the hometown kid, Jackson Lee.
Yeah, Kevin saw him coming, and Jackson saw him coming and opened up the door there.
That's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Colin Garrett, proud strike fastest lap at a 1:35.577.
Curious to see what he can do here, if he can chase down those leaders. Schmid doing an excellent job. Oh, late move there by Matty Oust. Is that down the inside of a teammate?
Coming down the inside of Gleason there. So
A Fast Track team had a lot of work on their hands after Road America. Two chassis suffered extensive damage. That's why we didn't see Gleason racing at Sebring, but they've done a great job prepping those cars here.
Anderson has jumped up to P3 in class, so he's cleared the rest of the runners, just got these two leaders up in front, so it's minimizing the damage after that first lap issue. Neto's off, damage.
Oh no,
right front.
That was the leader in the TC class. What led to this?
I believe this is between turn 3 and 4. Well, this will be a full course yellow.
No question about it. That car is stranded. Ah, that's Maddie Lemke, newcomer here this weekend, also in strife.
Wonder if there was some lapping going on there and they got together.
Would have been about the right safety car is out. I think the TC field was just starting to catch the back of the TCAs. I think you might be onto something.
That's a shame. Neto was doing such an awesome job.
Double yellows displayed at start
what
finish.
This does, this yellow puts Anderson right back with those leaders. So what a change in complexion for that TCA championship fight.
That's a great point. It is game on for the TCA title once again after the issue on lap 1. Interesting. Just caught the tail end of it there. Looks like Christian
damage
Pericarpi.
to the right front, just big hit.
Oh, Pericarpi, who had to take evasive action, was able to make his way through. Celso Neto, not so fortunate. Same for Maddie Lemke.
It's also going to put Jeff Ricker right on the back of Clay Williams, and he knows he's got to make something happen. He's got to minimize that point spread. You can see the devastation, the body language in the car there for Celso. Cannot believe what just happened there with the lap traffic.
What does this do to the points? Williams now running second instead of third. There is, I believe, a bigger delta between second and third than third and fourth.
Still 3-point swing, so it doesn't change a lot, but it does put Ricker right back on his tail to see if he can do anything on the restart lap.
So as they run, then it would still be a 24-point difference.
But that's all based on not getting the wave around from his teammate.
Right.
Whether he's second or third, that would still be enough of a swing.
That's a tough ask.
It is to give up a win at Indy.
For a hometown kid who grew up dreaming of racing at this place.
Yeah, that's major.
Ooh. I know Christian's a team player.
Second is different to give up. Giving up the win, totally different.
Well, we'll see how the mini team elects to play that. Halfway through this race, second to last race of the season. Again, points as they run. Clay Williams, 24 points to the good. If it ended this way, Clay would have to fail to score points tomorrow in the finale for Jeff Rica to be able to overhaul him and take the TC points lead. But you're right, if they did swap positions, the two minis, that would clinch it for Clay Williams today. The other thing this does is in the Manufacturers Championship, Mini has a lot of ground to make up. The team told me they feel like they need to be 1-2 in both races to have a chance. And I haven't done the math to tell you if that's good enough, if Rica finishes third in each of the races. But with Neto dropping out, this at least puts them in that position. In TCA points as they run, Bucknam would lead by 13 going into the finale, with 25 still on offer, but Anderson now has caught back up to this leading duo and has been as quick as anyone in the TCA class all weekend long.
Yeah, and significantly for Devin Anderson, he has the tiebreaker right now with 6 wins on the season. So even if Bucknam picked up a win today, if they got into a tie-break situation tomorrow, that would still swing it Devon's way.
It has been a season full of wild swings in momentum in TCA. There have been times where it looked like Devon Anderson was on his way to the title, same for Bucknam, and yet we find ourselves coming into this race with the two separated by just 1 point.
Yeah, I think as they run right now, moving ahead to tomorrow for the TCA battle, if Anderson should win tomorrow, Bucknam would need to be on the podium. Fourth would tie it, and Anderson would have the tiebreaker. So it's still tight, still a lot to play for.
A couple of cars getting the wave around if you're stuck behind the safety car, but ahead of your class leader. You're allowed to get that lap back. See a few cars taking advantage of that. Well, this is shaping up to be, to use a Calvin term, a spicy final 18 minutes.
Some great battling going on. Really impressed with Jackson Lee in terms of what he's been able to do on his debut here in this championship, mixing up with the front of the pack, so that's pretty cool. Sits in P4, trying to go after the championship winner for this year. Colin Garrett right in front of him, but I think our focus is on that Bucknam Lambros Anderson. What does Anderson have? He's got decent pace in that car, just had that little slip on the opening lap.
Safety car lights are still on, it would appear, so we'll have a little bit more time under yellow. Gives us a chance to go back pit side and check in with DJ.
Well, Ryan, I just had the chance to talk to Rooster Hall Racing. That car for the number 44 for Colin Garrett, I am told it is set up for the end of the race. They sit in third place right now. I think they're going to be a little bit faster here in the final 15 minutes or so.
Good note, thank you, DJ. So that might help explain why that car slipped back some at the start of the race, but with an eye on the long run.
Yeah, I mean, typically we see that a car could be set up for a longer run in toasty conditions. It's relatively mild here. Track temperatures increasing as we get through this race. I'm not sure exactly what they've done with the setup to believe that they have an advantage at the end. But certainly Garrett's car has got pace. We thought he was in trouble there when he got out-shuffled there a little bit through the chicane, dropping many positions, but he's rebounded nicely. And he's got nothing to worry about. I mean, the championship is done and dusted. It's just go for victory. And again, everyone would love to win here at Indy.
Then the gray car behind Colin Garrett, we've been talking about him a bit already. Jackson Lee, open wheel racer, finished in the top 10 at the Formula Ford Festival back in 2020. That's saying something. That is always an incredibly competitive event. Made 11 starts in USF Pro 2000 this year, which is 2 rungs below IndyCar on the American open wheel ladder system. Still has his eyes on an open wheel career, but getting some experience here in 10 tops. And to your point, Cal, really impressed with his first touring car race.
Yeah, and he gets the job done on the racetrack and off. I mean, he's a great ambassador for all of his partners that he has with his program. So the return on investment is great if you're a supporter of his.
Always good to see on the resume, too. Team USA scholarship winner. Jeremy Shaw knows how to pick them.
He does, and kudos to Jeremy, too. Every year just keeps digging deep, finding the support to take young American talent over to Europe, giving them a chance. As you said, you're throwing them in a hotbed there at the Formula Ford Festival. It doesn't come any deeper in terms of the talent pool, and right there with young drivers looking to make a name for themselves.
Just a look here at Chris Valdez. Talked to him a little bit earlier in the weekend, said this has been a learning year going from the BMW to the Honda, learning the front wheel drive platform. Haven't been able to put the full season together, and he feels like that's put him on the back foot a little bit, but really passionate about his racing, loves being in the paddock, working on a program for next year as well, which is great to hear. Enthusiastic skateboarder as well. I think that was his first love. A couple years ago, I learned he undertook a challenge to do a different skateboard trick every day for an entire year. And he had to plan basically his life around it. He had to think about, all right, I'm going to be on a road trip today. Or maybe on Wednesday, let's say, I'm going to go on a road trip. What trick can I do in a parking lot somewhere to be able to keep this streak going? And don't use that too soon, right? Got to keep that in your back pocket for a day when you just need to put something on that list. Really cool guy with a big-time passion for both racing and skateboarding.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And my balance on a skateboard is not great, so I could actually come up with a different trick every day, every time I try to get on one.
You and me both. We could take some lessons from Chris, maybe. Inside the final 15 minutes of this one, looks like the cleanup just about complete. Dai Yoshihara still the leader. Could he be vulnerable, though, on the restart? We saw at the initial start that Honda took off pretty well, but there have been times this season, Cal, where that Honda TCX machine hasn't always had the best get up and go on a restart.
Yeah, just so many questions to be answered here in this final 13 minutes. Championship's on the line. What does Pericarpi do with his teammate? What does Ricker do on this restart? He's got to somehow figure a way around Williams and try and hold him off till the checkered flag and minimize that points gap going into tomorrow's final race.
And then in TCA, can Devin Anderson continue his charge through the field? He was dropped to the back of the pack. Misfortune on lap number 1. He is recovered to 3rd. Needs to get a couple more spots if he's going to go into the finale with the points lead. So much still to be settled in the final 13 minutes. And it looks like the restart is imminent. Toyota GR Supra safety car pulls to the pit lane here at Indianapolis. The overall leader, Dai Yoshihara, has the TCX field in hand. Christian Pericarpi, he leads in TC. In TCA, it's Spencer Bucknam, but he's got Will Lambrose and Devin Anderson breathing down his neck. Here we go, final 12.5 minutes of race 1 of the weekend. Back to the front straightaway, back to green flag racing here at the Brickyard. Yoshihara with a strong getaway. He's got Kenny Schmid right behind. Look at the battle in TC, though. Here comes Rika. He got the jump. Coming down the front straightaway, making a move on both of the minis.
Yeah, and you are allowed to start that move early on a restart. Jackson Lee to the inside of Garrett. That was tight there as they go through the apex. Rika goes to the front, gets around both minis.
P3 to P1 on the restart. Jeff Rika, the snake in the grass, was laying back, and he got the jump. Now, can the minis recover?
Well, Pericarpi's got to get aggressive on him. He's got to help out Clay Williams here. This would be a huge swing if Rika could gain 10 points on Clay Williams as they run.
We go to Sunday with a totally different perspective on the TC Championship. In the meantime, the fight is on here in TCX. Looked like Kenny Schmid was making a bid for the lead. Rika leading in TC, and behind, it looks like Bucknam's been able to hang on. Lambrose and Anderson still battling it out for second.
Yeah, Lambrose can really help out fellow Honda runner Bucknam by trying keeping Anderson behind him till the checkered flag here this afternoon. Schmid there, getting a little bit defensive with Garrett suddenly up on the wheel and got some pace in that 44 car.
Yeah, prior to the yellow, Colin Garrett was the quickest car on the racetrack, and he makes the move on Schmid there in turn 12. Schmid fighting back, but he's going to be stuck on the outside for turn 13. If he can keep it there, though, he's got the inside line for 14, side by side for second, and this is letting Dai Yoshihara sprint away.
That may give a run for Jackson Lee here on this front stretch. Tucked into the draft there, 2 teammates going at it behind there. That's Gleason and Aus in the bright orange machine.
Back behind, Christian Pericarpi. He's got Rika in his sights. Fight for second at TCX at the bottom of the screen, middle of the screen. That's for the lead in TC.
Oh, touch there between Schmid and Garrett going through turn 1.
Garrett to the inside, still side by side. Pericarpi side by side with Rika for the lead. Williams right there on his back bumper. Then it's Valdez running in 4th. Jackson Lee fighting it out with Gleason. Matty Aus there too. It is wild here at Indianapolis with 10 minutes to go.
Rika fighting for his championship life right now. He's got to try and hang on and get these big points. Pericarpi, little mistake there. Grabbed too much curb, trying to recover.
Christian can help himself and his teammate if he can make this move. Jackson Lee pops out of line, looking for a spot in TCX, but the focus now is on the fight for the lead in TC. Oh, look at this. Schmid and Lee going at it.
Great battle, and look how close this TC battle is to the tail end of that TCX battle for the top 5.
Oh, Schmid drops a wheel. That could leave him vulnerable. This is for the final step of the podium in TCX.
Garrett has taken off. Does he have sights on the leader? Can he chase down that Honda in front of him?
Oh, a couple of teammates fighting behind two other teammates. AOA teammates Schmid and Lee. Then Gleason and Oust also fighting one another. They're out of the fast track racing stable. Some car was off there in oval turn 1. Couldn't catch who that was.
Watch Ricker. Watch Ricker here. He's going to go right immediately. Take the shortcut, essentially. No, he doesn't. Now he elects to stay left. He opens up the door there for Pericarpi. Previous laps, he'd immediately gone right down this front straightaway. Takes a different approach here.
Christian sitting in the slipstream. Time running out for him to make this move. He's the pole sitter. Lost the lead, though, on the restart here. After an early race battle with Celso, Neto dropped into second. He got back to the lead when Neto hit misfortune. Then on the restart, Rika got by, and now Pericarpi trying to get to the lead at Indianapolis once again.
Ricker's car moving around under braking there for turn 1, almost a Scandinavian flick to get it through there. Pericarpi, yeah, almost blinded when you're that tight to that car in front. Seeing those curves is tricky.
Cleaner run through the switchback, though, that time.
Garrett's got the heat on. He's going after the leader here.
Lead to the inside of Schmid, fighting for third. The two come together. Those are teammates.
Wow. Schmid spins. Jackson continues. It was a late move, but I think Kenny may have turned in. See if we get a better look at it, and that allows the TC battle to get around Jackson Lee.
But not all of it. Clay Williams got stuck there, and that will cost him in pursuit not just of his teammate, but also the man he is fighting for, the season-long championship. Jeff Rika, did he snooker the field with that restart brilliance?
Well, what I don't understand, he was really struggling on acceleration. You can just see him being gapped right through this sector right here between 13 and 14. Looked like Menini's had an advantage as Jackson hits pit lane. But it looks pretty even there. He's electing just to stay left. Before he seemed like he thought he was very vulnerable here, so just keeping it on the racing line. Like that Hyundai has come to life late in the going.
Certainly has. Jeff Rika, that time by, ran a 37.2. Pericarpi a 37 flat. There is pace in that Mini if he can get by.
Well, then the key is, you know, for Pericarpi, we talked about giving up the win, totally different deal. Does he give up that second place to his teammate?
Harder to do now that there's that big gap to Clay Williams. Pretty good run onto Holman Boulevard that time for Pericarpi.
Cars look so evenly matched now. I thought there was more of a concertina effect between the performance of the two vehicles, but right now they seem pretty evenly matched. Rika has come alive here at a very critical stage in this race and the championship.
Absolutely massive, the swing here. It would be 25 points for Rika.
Big run. He really rolls speed there through turn 9.
If Jeff can hang on. He's the veteran of this duo, just celebrated a birthday a couple of days ago. Would love to celebrate with a victory here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Maybe a championship if things go like they are right now.
Being so smart there, not opening up the door totally for that critical turn 13. Doesn't want to invite Christian down to the inside. Pericarpi ever closer. Gets the run. What does Rika do now?
And Cal, we've missed this in TCA. Devin Anderson has dropped multiple positions. Bucknam and Lambros continue to lead, but Anderson has dropped down to 5th.
That's huge. Potential 15-point advantage for Bucknam. That would make it 18 going into tomorrow.
So much to keep an eye on. Garrett is starting to close in on Yoshihara, although Yoshihara has started to answer now, and that gap has stabilized somewhat at around 1.3 seconds.
Look at Pericarpi. They are literally joined at the hip right now. Pericarpi again, I think he's had the pace here all day long, but hasn't got to the front. I think if he gets clean air on that Mini, he may take off a little bit, but Rika's doing everything, controlling this race beautifully at this point.
Christian sizing him up, looking for a weakness, probing the defenses. Battle for the lead in TCA, fantastic, as it has been all race long. Spencer Bucknam needs to maximize his points here, knowing it's been a difficult day for his rival, Devin Anderson.
Anderson's got pace still, just looking at his last lap pace, so I'm not sure what happened. Maybe on that restart lap, we didn't quite see how it eventually figured out. Lambros looks to the inside. Bucknam, very defensive, middle of the road. Lambros trying to make the cutback and get a run on him on the exit of turn 7.
This is Anderson here behind Xiao Yiche and PJ Gronke. As they run, it would be an 18-point deficit with just 25 on offer in the season finale tomorrow. Under 5 minutes to go.
Ricker still feels he can just run the regular line here, doesn't have to defend at this point. Does Pericarpi just send it at some point?
He's close. This is as close as he's been at the end of the straightaway in quite some time, but he elects to stay in line.
Yeah, the Mini looks a bit more stable than the Hyundai under braking. I think Ricker's really dancing the car there in the brake zone, on his toes. The Mini looks so planted here, just seems like Christian can put the car exactly where he wants to put it.
Got a great run, but did he have to lift? Could he keep his momentum up? Right there on the tail of the Hyundai through the switchback again.
Look how evenly matched these two cars are. Battle up front in TCA. Bucknams continues to hang on to the lead.
And the significance of this, if this were to change, that would be a 7-point swing for Bucknam. So instead of an 18-point lead, it would just be 11. That's assuming Anderson doesn't make up more positions.
Yeah, and Bucknam's a smart kid. He'll be doing the math in his head. He knows exactly how important hanging on that win would be in setting up the championship finale.
It's hard to know where to look. Too many battles, too many championship storylines to try to follow.
Biggest lead I think we've seen with Ricker up front in front of Pericarpi here. He's got a solid car length. Let's see if he widens his arc here. He does a little bit wider approach to 13. Previous lap, he was a bit more defensive and compromised his line, but Pericarpi's right there again. Pericarpi can roll big apex speed.
I believe time still for 3 more laps. This race coming down to the wire. Battle for the lead in TC. Jeff Rica in the Hyundai. Christian Pericarpi in the Mini. Clay Williams has fallen off of these two. It would make a swap of position very difficult for the Minis to try and help Clay's cause.
Yeah, as long as there's no one in between them, you know, he can slow down a lot on that final lap if he chooses to do that and elect to do that. I think it might have been different if it was going to clinch the championship on the day versus just make the points lead a little bit better. That's a different decision as well.
Rica with a bit more of a gap this time. He's found his rhythm. Lambros has gotten by on Bucknam. Bucknam trying to fight back now to the outside into turn 1. Forces Lambros down up over that curb. Now he'll have the inside with the left-hander.
Brilliant piece of driving there by both of them, giving each other just enough elbow room. Bucknam putting it all on the line. Got to think big picture. I'm sure Eversley is on the horn to him. Just say, stay cool, boy.
Lambros is through to the lead, a 7-point swing in the championship. Lambros is not a player for the title, but that change of position has a major, major impact on how the championship will play out. Anderson has gotten around Gronke, so that's up another spot for him. Bucknam fighting back, mirror to mirror. They come together there in turn 7.
Bucknam's got to be so careful here that he just doesn't cut down a tire. When they're that close together, anything can go wrong. Oh, Lambros there, really attacked. Turn 10 there, keeps it together. Wheel hitched up in the air.
With Bucknam 2nd, Anderson 4th. You saw how close it was going to be, and the next car ahead of Anderson is his teammate. So I don't expect they're going to finish in this order. In fact, I think the switch might be on right now. Xiao Yiche helping Devin Anderson through in his pursuit of the championship. What a recovery drive today for Devin Anderson.
This is huge, particularly if Bucknam cannot get back to the lead. That means that Devin Anderson may have the championship in his own control tomorrow with a victory. That would give him enough of a gap. Right now it'd be a 6-point margin between the two championship leaders. And there's a 7-point swing first to second tomorrow.
1 lap to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dai Yoshihara continues to show the way overall. Jeff Rica.
Was Williams in trouble back there? I thought I saw a car off to the right-hand side of the road with a lot of cars around him.
We'll have to keep an eye out for that. That would be another wrinkle, especially with Rica showing the way here in the TC class. Pericarpi's been putting the pressure on, but in recent laps, Rica has had the edge. He's pulled the gap. Final lap, here comes the leader, Dai Yoshihara. Out of the final turn, he's come close so many times, just the one win to show for his great pace. Now a second, and it comes at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dai Yoshihara, VGRT are winners at the Brickyard. Onto the front straightaway, Jeff Rica with the restart of his life from third to the lead, and he is in with the shout for the championship tomorrow. Jeff Rica wins at Indy. Now in TCA, Lambros and Bucknam. What will happen between these two?
Bucknam's got to be thinking big picture, but he wants the big points. Anderson up to 30, makes a late move there, down into turn 12, side by side. Lambros going to try and hang around the outside. He's going to send it here. The tires will be dirty. Trying for the crossover. Bucknam tries to respond.
Spencer Bucknam leaving it all on the line. He needs every point he can muster. It's going to be a drag race to the yard of bricks. Out of turn 14 for the TCA win. With championship implications on the line, it's going to be a dead heat at the stripe. The win unofficially to Spencer Bucknam by 1/1000th of a second. But that's going to go to the photographers. That is a photo finish.
That is wild. Let's take a look here. I thought Lambros had it visually, but let's see. You called it, Ryan. It was a drag race, all right, but oh man, that is so tight. So tight. We assume the transponder is exactly the same point in each race car. 1/1000th of a second, and 7 championship points ride on that margin. For now, Bucknam has it, but that will be reviewed. Well, it's huge because if he was second, it would only been a 6-point margin going to tomorrow, and that meant if Devin Anderson won the race, there'd be nothing that Bucknam could do. Now he's got a bit more breathing room. What a day.
That race had a little bit of everything. One thing we need to follow up on is the Clay Williams story, and you are right, Cal. He was in strife.
Yeah,
he dropped multiple positions there on the final few laps. Ends up 6th in class, and Rica scores maximum points.
Yeah, that is a
There's the car.
17-point swing. First to 6, and he had a 21-point lead, so that lead may be unofficially down to just 4 points. I could see him in trouble, and there were several cars that were within a couple of seconds of him, so he was dropping like a stone there. Gets it across the line, but nonetheless, hard to believe.
Brutal luck for Clay Williams. But he still has a chance to control his destiny tomorrow in the championship finale. In TCA, though, again, what a finish. The drag race to the line between Bucknam and Lambros. This is our angle at it.
Yeah, it's tough with the shadows and the different color cars to really identify exactly where the nose is. I mean, I would say give it to Lambros, but hopefully they got a better angle than I'm looking at.
We saw this earlier this year in Pirelli GT4 America. There was a result that went to the photographers.
Correct? Yeah.
Correct. And it was ultimately overturned, and the difference is the transponder, in that case, it was 2 different makes of cars, so the transponder is placed in different spots on the car. These are 2 Hondas, so you'd think they would be pretty darn close, but it might not be to the millimeter, and that's what it's going to take.
Christian Pericarpi, I think, congratulating Jeff Rica on a great battle. Rica's restart, and then the car just seemed to come alive. He looked vulnerable down this front straightaway. He's protecting, and then suddenly it seemed like he found speed.
You're exactly right. That car came alive on the restart, and it looked like a totally different Gen Racer Hyundai at that point in the race. Wow, so much to sift through. We'll start by speaking to some of our race winners down in Victory Circle with DJ.
Well, Ryan, we are right here with Jeff Rica, and we have got to start at that restart. 2 positions gained. You got the jump on the field.
Oh, yeah, I timed that perfectly. I had the perfect eyesight just to, see that green go, and I had the momentum just going down the inside. At one point, Christian came in, and it was really tight, and I was like, you know what? If it's going to be rubbing, it's going to be rubbing all the way down to 1, and yeah, the paid dividends all the way to the end. That was amazing. I can't thank the guys from, Hyundai USA. Honda Korea. Guys, my crew, Gen Racer crew, Sally, my teammate. Awesome guy. This is awesome.
A very excited Jeff Rika down here in Victory Lane.
And he'll have a chance to race for the championship tomorrow. Very happy birthday to you, Jeff. Turned 41 yesterday. There you see the celebration. They know what's at stake there. So, provisional race results, and we must stress provisional with the way that one played out. Dai Yoshihara, your overall winner. Heading home, Colin Garrett by a second and a half. Adam Gleason, a podium here at his home track. Great run for him. Jeff Rika, fourth overall, got the win in the TC class ahead of Christian Pericarpi. And Chris Valdez up on the podium. Really strong run here today for Chris. In the TCA ranks, well, it looks like they have swapped things around, perhaps. Now they're showing Will Lambrose by a thousandth of a second as the winner over Spencer Bucknam. Devin Anderson third. We'll sort that all out. We'll let the stewards do their job. Who knows who won the TCA class at this stage? Maybe DJ knows more. Who have you found, DJ?
Well, I found Dai Yoshihara, your TCX class winner. Dai, first victory since NOLA earlier this year and at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This has got to be special.
Oh man, first of all, I want to thank my sponsors, ARP, Ineos Oil, Pit and Paddock, and all the other sponsors made this season possible. And man, it's been a tough season for us with the BOP and everything, but you know, finally we got a win in the Indianapolis, which means a lot. And I want to thank Victor Gonzalez to put the fastest car on the track today. And but you know, we got to have tomorrow another race, so I'll keep it going, try to win another one.
All right, there it is. A look for tomorrow as well. But for today, it's victory.
Thank you.
Well done to Dai Yoshihara. That's been a long time coming. He has been so quick all season, and they just have not had the good luck to go with the pace.
Yeah, no, it's great to see him score at the biggest stage that we have in the championship season. So he'll be pumped and looking forward to tomorrow. And this is the big question mark. We wait with bated breath. Did Lambrose get the victory, or is it Bucknam?
Let's look at it again here. These two go side by side. Bucknam put it all on the line in turn 12.
Just awesome racing between
Phenomenal.
the two of them. We saw it between Bucknam and Anderson at Sebring, and it continues here at Indy.
To the yard of bricks. 1/1000th of a second. And for now, at least, Will Lambrose has been declared the winner. DJ?
He is indeed the winner here for the moment. We've got to check everything over, but I mean, an amazing last lap, an amazing battle through the entire race.
Spencer and I battled the whole race. Car stayed consistent. It was awesome. We were fast. It was really just a race between the two of us, and it came down to the last two laps. We were side by side for, you know, a good part of the race, and he passed me into one on the last lap. I tried to get him back into 3 and 7, and then I got around the outside of him after 7 through the S's and into 10. And he crossed me over on the last corner, and we drag raced to the end. It was like a thousandth of a second, I think I beat him by. But yeah, I'd like to thank my team, Skip Barber Racing, all my sponsors, my dad, Anthony DeMonte, all the guys working really hard on the car to make me fast. Definitely could not do it without them. So yeah, I'm stoked. It's a perfect place to do it at. It's, you know, if there was one place to get a second win this year, I'm glad it was at Indy.
A very happy Will Lambrose down here on Victory Lane.
Well deserved, and thank you, Will, for putting on a great show for us. That battle with Spencer Bucknam all race long was top-notch. Let's start by looking at points. This one has been settled for some time now. Colin Garrett is your champion-elect in TCX, extending that lead over Lucas Catania, who is not here this weekend. Matty Oust is third. Dai Yoshihara, though, making a couple positions up with the victory today to get up to fourth in Joe Catania. And Kenny Schmid currently tied on 103 points. Kenny Schmid should take that spot tomorrow by virtue of Joe Catania not being here at Indy. In the TC ranks, look how close it has become. Clay Williams and Jeff Rika, just 11 points between those two. Celso Neto, what might have been for him. He had a great run going, Cal, before things went wrong about halfway through the race, bringing up the only yellow of the day.
Yeah, all to play for tomorrow in both the TC battle and TCA as we look at those point standings right now. 6 points, but the difference between first and second tomorrow is 7. So Anderson can still control his own destiny with a victory here at Indy and grab that championship in the final day.
And all of that, of course, still pending, making sure that photo finish went the way of Will Lambros. 7 points hang in the balance on that decision, so they'll take their time and get that right. We'll update you on it when we show up for the finale tomorrow here at Indy. Highlights from race number 1 coming up here shortly at the famed Brickyard, and what a race it was for TC America. TC America Race 1 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a race it was. Here's the initial run down into turn number 1. Colin Garrett fighting with Dai Yoshihara. Those two would have a nice duel. Little assist there from Kenny Schmid to push Colin Garrett to the class lead. Problems here on the first lap of coming together. Ruben Iglesias and Sally McNulty go spinning off into the grass. This was a wild ride for Jeremiah Burton. Close call for Chris Valdez, who would end up getting on the podium today in TC. Good battles here throughout the field. That was Garrett working on Jackson Lee. Celso Neto from the lead, coming together with a lap car, sent him off track. That brought out the yellow. On the restart, the move of the race, Jeff Rica, 3rd to 1st in TC. That has him with a chance to win the TC Championship tomorrow. Dai Yoshihara scored his 2nd victory of the season in TCX. Rica, a crucial victory for his championship hopes in TC. And this battle to the finish in the TCA class. Will Lambros in the Skip Barber car. Spencer Bucknam for LA Honda World. 1/1000th of a second, and the win goes to Will Lambros in race 1 here at Indy. Championship battles still to be determined in both the TC and TCA classes.